Hello folks, Typhon Carter here, and I bring to you a Smogon Premier League 17 matchup. This is a Week 4 showdown between Pideous of the Circus Maximus Tigers and Dababy 2 of the Alpha Ruiners. Dababy off to a good start as he came in and won last week against Ladybug in Week 3. And Pideous is coming off a loss, I believe, against SFG. So Pideous is 2-1 on the season, and Dababy is 1-0. That being said, though, let's jump right into this. Zapdos lead, D-Knight lead. Interesting lead matchup here because D-Knight could friend a Draco Meteor on this Zapdos. Zapdos could, if it's faster than D-Knight, it could, sub up. So swaps out here. Not going to risk it. Gets T-waved, and full para there. They just bring out Zapdon, and then this might be a double spinner on Pideous's end, whereas for Dababy this is probably like just a mixed Dragonite offense. So usually that's something like D-Knight Starmie, and then Heatran is shown. Probably a Healing Wish Laddie, for example, is a possible combination as well. Goes to the D-Knight here. Onto the rocks entry, gets Ice Shark crit, and that is brutal for a couple reasons. One, the Ice Shark crit meant that if that Dragonite was Life Orb, then that D-Knight was effectively just gonna die. Well, Draco Meteor would have at least taken out the Donphan, so I think Dababy would have been happy to take a trade like that. And the Donphan here could be a real annoyance for some of these like Dragonite offense teams because of its like defensive profile and the movesets it'll usually carry. And goes to Starmie here, so it tells me that this is probably just try to save the game. And Suicune is revealed. Misses a Hydro Pump here, so the baby can't really land anything right now, and Suicune's gonna see him up here, and it goes to the Laddie ass and into a Surf. But the question is, how would Dababy respond to this? Draco Meteor's here, huge drop, but what this means though is that Pideous's Tyranitar will most certainly get a free pursuit trap off on this Laddie ass, so Dababy could be in real trouble now because the Starmie has a hard time spinning. That Starmie's probably Cobra Berry if it's showing no item. And the Heatran, we don't know what item this is, probably some kind of Resist Berry, which is normally what you see on these kind of Dragonite offense teams. And yeah, the baby's just gonna Draco Meteor again, and Pursuit was always free. Starmie's gonna be sent out here, and T-Tar will go down at the very least, but Zapdos is going to come in. One thing here is that this Zapdos actually a huge problem for Dababy's squad because sometimes offensive teams just can't really handle Zapdos too well. But Dababy probably has like a Tyranitar in the back, probably like a CB Tar or something, or like a mixed Tar that can at least like somewhat match up with Zapdos reasonably okay. And Tyranitar's gonna come in, gonna get T-Bolt it, so 24% decent damage. And Donphan's gonna come in, that's a CB Tar if I've ever seen one. And gets a crit there, so Dababy finally catching a bit of a break here. But even with that, the Zapdos still a problem. Suicune is especially a huge problem for Dababy's team because D-Knight is effectively dead. Heatran can't really take a water move, and even if it's Passion Berry, you still have to fight through a full para. And then Starmie can somewhat threaten it, but if this Suicune is like, if it has Sin Power Electric, which in some cases, some Suicunes are like, CM modest and don't really like the idea of missing with Surf or Hydro Pump, so they opt for Surf instead. So maybe that's what Pideous is doing here. We don't know for sure. Lucario's gonna come in. D-Knight's gonna be sacrificed here. Close combat's probably Life Orb, and Metagross is coming out. And oh, fantastic double there by Dababy, because Dababy used the Metagross to feign that it was Choice Scarf, which, like, you know, after you send a Lucario out and that's your follow-up, it's like that, because I mean, the playing it by the book would be, you know, going Starmie, but actually no, Starmie actually would have gotten KO'd by Extreme Speed. So the other thing is that Lucario may or may not be, or rather the Metagross isn't necessarily Scarf, because some metas can be EV to survive a close combat from unboosted. So going into Tyranitar, knowing that the best switch for Pideous was probably Zapdos, also a fantastic play there. Superpowers there, so Dababy was trying to make a read per se, thinking the Zapdos won't stay in, but gets punished instead. Huge crit there though. The Zapdos will probably just roost back up to full, especially when it's -2. Heatran's got enter into game here, and probably going to threaten an explosion, but no, just gets a Will-O-Wisp instead, which is not a bad play, because Will-O-Wisp is like a serviceable mid-ground. Fire Blast will take care of the job against the Zapdos, and Suicune is going to be sent out, going to just Surf. This works out because Suicune can usually just trade with just about anything, but probably want to preserve it for the Metagross. Thunderbolt here actually doing very little to this Lucario, and Tyranitar's gonna be sacked here. Crunches, okay. Goes to Suicune and gets T-punched. What will he do here? Surf doing 40%, so yeah, that's a Scarf meta. What is Pideous' last? Pideous' last is Jirachi. And gonna get T-bolted on the way out. However, despite all the misfortune that's happened for Dababy, there is one way he can save this game. One, he needs to get EQ crit on this Jirachi. And then also hope that this Jirachi is not Shuka Berry. So that's how he can get out of this. The other thing is that, yeah, that's his main out, and then hope that the Jirachi is not like Hidden Part Ground or Hidden Part Fire, that kind of thing. We don't know the exact bulk. Meta's gonna come in, going to EQ, does not get the crit, and oh yeah, just got a flat out die, and Pideous will win this game, and she will go to 3-1 on the season, I believe, and Dababy will go to 1-1. So this game was a little bit rough for Dababy. It wasn't so much that he made a bad play or anything like that. If anything, I think the Draco miss was actually huge for Dababy, and then also getting Ice Shark crit, because there's 3 reasons why I say that. Because one, Draco Meteor was almost certainly going to drop that Dawn Fan, and then with, like, you know, some health intact, Dababy could have at least had the option to you know, Healing Wish back up if he needs to. Actually no, I don't think he would have really needed to, but that, and then not, like, yeah, it just felt like Dababy couldn't really catch a break for most of the game, because Zapdos really stunk for Dababy's team, because you really see how defensive Zapdos can just stymie offense sometimes, and even something like a CB Tar was just alone is just not enough. And yeah, I think Dababy did good, like, you know, making the most out of what was handed to him. Whereas for Pideous, she was able to execute her game plan for the most part, because I think even though the D-Knight missed the Draco, I think Pideous would have been fine trading the Dawn Fan. Like, but with the way the game was playing out, because like sure there was a T-Tar, but you had the Lucario to fall back on, and you can see how Dababy's fighting resists were not necessarily the most sturdy. Like Latias, like this is an offensive Lati, so that was gonna get worn down if Lucario can keep coming in. And then there's a Starmie, which didn't have lefties, and it was on a limited timer. And yeah, so there was that, and CM Jirachi or Super Rachi with T-Bolt hidden power ground. Maybe it's not CM Jirachi, maybe it's just mixed Jirachi. We don't know for sure what the Jirachi set was on Pideous's end, because like Super Rachi and mixed Jirachi are both plausible on this kind of set, or on this style of team, to say the least. And Jirachi could have at least threatened the trade with Starmie, do pretty good against Heatran, assuming it was in power ground, and things like that. But that being said though, if you guys enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.